Old and new. Seal Pup on the top, Seal Pup Elite on the bottom. A big improvement. I'll do a tabletop review on this. Both along for the ride today. We'll see if we can cut some with them. Let's do a little splitting with a SOG SEAL Pup Elite light duty tactical slash survival slash utility blade. Nice. It's doing pretty good for kindling. Yeah. I like it. It's lightweight too. I like the longer handle, longer cutting surface. I don't mind the back spine run right here. What is up, TMPers, folks from the internet, knife addicts all around the world? You have found another Nutnfancy, that's me, knife review, specifically fixed blade variety. We will be talking about the SOG SEAL Pup Elite blade, as you've seen in the introduction, having been tested in the Nutnfancy project to a certain level. Not totally thrashed upon, but enough so we can get a feel for what its capabilities are in the POUs, which we'll discuss in the talking points. Going down, I'll probably forget stuff, mix stuff around, and have to annotate it, maybe not. You know how that works. You are looking at the SOG SEAL Pup original version, which has been in the Nutnfancy collection for many years, previously reviewed in the Nutnfancy project, circa July 2008. You will see that in annotation right there. You can look it up if you want to. I had some negative things to say about this blade. Justified, I will say, and I still feel the same way. I will compare and contrast the original SEAL Pup against the SEAL Pup Elite as the review progresses. They are very similar, but in a lot of ways, here comes a newer knife, kind of different blades. Big improvement, the SEAL Pup Elite. I'm excited about the blade, and that will take us into philosophy of use, as we normally start out in. First and foremost, I will say that this is a good choice, maybe not the best choice, but a good choice for field blade. A camp knife with you to go day hiking, maybe just camping, backpacking, things of that nature. Kind of doing the tasks that you saw Bucket Nuster and I doing up in High Sky series. That is a good blade choice for that. Keep in mind, it is not a high-powered blade. Okay, this isn't one that I would want to tackle heavy-duty shelter making, fire making in the cold weather. It just cannot compete on that level. Why? And we'll talk maybe more about it in this talking point. It's too light of a blade. That is a huge selling point in another POU, which we'll discuss. But in the POU of maybe survival knife, a disadvantage. Other blades, like we discussed in High Skies, it might be better options that are around the same size but a little bit heavier might be the Cold Steel SRK. Okay, you can see it is a little bit bigger, thicker, more capable wood splitter, woods crafter, still a medium-sized survival knife, dudes. This one, both of them are, but more capability, just like I showed you in that comparison with the SRK, and even more still is if we upgrade to perhaps a Fallkniven. Can't get out of the sheath here. A1, laminated stainless steel, great blade, love the A1, love the Fallkniven. We'll have a separate tabletop on that sometime, but that's kind of a larger knife still. So in a way, with these three blades, just like we said in High Skies, Bucket, and myself, kind of a continuum of medium-sized survival / camp knives, right? On the lower end of the scale, at least with these three representations, and there really are other choices that I can't represent, both custom and factory produced blades, dudes, you know that. But on the lower end of the scale for lightness and compactness is a SOG SEAL Pup Elite. And it gets it right in a lot of different ways. As long as you can be cool with it not being able to do those heavier duty tasks, I think you'll dig it. For light duty fire making, just like you saw, it did pretty good. And the blade grind, which we'll discuss, actually functioned better than I thought it would. And as I remember with the original Seal Pup in wood splitting. That's the first POU. Secondarily, tactical blade. LBE blade, something you would strap on your tactical load bearing equipment, is a last ditch emergency blade. Well, let me back up. Also for utility tasks. We often call it a tactical blade, but more often than not, what it's going to be used for is just utility tasks, opening crates, cutting material, webbing, food preparation, all those other things. And then in the back of your mind, you have it on your loadout system as a military operator, a law enforcement dude serving warrants, maybe a responsible civilian sheepdog as an emergency defensive tool. And here's a change somewhat in the Nutnfancy philosophy. And first off, by way of caveat, I am not a knife fighting guru. I've always said that, or a tactical expert, but I have my own experiences which I draw conclusions from. That's what all of TMP is about, and I think they're well reasoned and thought out and pretty much logical for the most part. I may change here and there. One of the changes I'm thinking is that if you go for your emergency knife, your tactical knife, whether it's fixed blade, folding knife, variety, as you're engaged, let's say in urban combat, Afghanistan, the guy's probably going to be on top of you. Okay, it's going to be close quarters. It's either because your weapon is out of ammunition, you could not reload it fast enough, it went down, it malfunctioned, it was separated from you somehow, you don't have a pistol or you can't get to your pistol. Last ditch, maybe tertiary in the hierarchy of your force continuum is your blade. In close quarters, I think a knife of this size, the SOG SEAL Pup Elite, with its 4.9 inch blade, is going to be adequate. In fact, almost preferred. Because, and again, I'm not the knife fighting guru here, but applying logic, the guy is close. Okay, and it's last ditch, you're saving your life. This would excel at that POU. It's a difference in my way of thinking because I've always kind of wanted that standoff capability with some larger blades. Maybe the Cold Steel OSS previously reviewed might be an example of that POU. Larger, lightweight, very capable combat blades strapped to your LBE. Honestly, there's probably going to be varying opinions on this, and all of them are probably valid to some degree, but I'm kind of steering towards, for an LBE, let me clarify that, for an LBE strapped blade, to have it medium sized. Okay, not small size. I don't want a karambit or something like that. I want some reach. 5 inches is about the smallest blade I would go with, thereabouts. As you saw in Armed Serenity, what I have strapped to my LBE there, Spyderco Fred Perrin. Same POU as a SEAL Pup Elite blade. Okay, there you go. There might be some other POUs depending on who you are, just collectability. That's cool. Why? Getting to the next talking point is because it's a high quality blade that's affordable. Jumping ahead in the price talking point, of course, about $50, you can score a SOG SEAL Pup Elite. Go to yourcornerstore.com. If he's got it, dudes, that guy's prices just are amazing. Okay, Mike Cassidy, awesome. No, I don't get kickbacks, but I want to give you guys good blades at good prices. Okay, this is a great blade for that. Quality, fit, and finish throughout is excellent. And honestly, you got to kind of screw it up in a fixed blade. A folding knife, in my opinion, is more difficult to retain or produce in high quality fashion. Just by way of reference, just because it's strapped to my pocket right now, the Buck Vantage Pro. Great blade. I've talked a lot about this knife, reviewed also. But, you got bolsters, handle scales, pivot points, liners, clips, the same finishing on the blade, edging, grind, all those things. A lot of them go into the fixed blade, but to me, it's harder to make a folding knife to a higher quality level. But SOG gets it right with a SEAL Pup Elite. I love the finish on this one. Kind of Scotch Brite, showing some wear marks from the Nutnfancy testing. Of course, I dig it. The handle, You know, it's that fiber glass reinforced handle. It's nothing special as far as collectability goes, but in functionality, we'll talk about that here in a second. Decent. Fit and finish throughout is excellent, as is the sheath. We'll discuss that in others. But that makes it collectible and enjoyable for guys to have. So maybe that's another POU, right? Just collectability. They love it, and it kind of has that SOG Bowie lineage to it that a lot of guys dig. We talked about that with some other blades. I may roll in here too. Weight, balance, and feel talking point. Big selling point. Both of these SEAL pups, their advantage, like I've already said, sorry if I'm repeating, weight. You know, and if I didn't say so, I will. Here's the old SEAL pup, original in its Kydex, its older style Kydex sheath. The blades themselves are virtually identical in weight. The old one, 5.4 ounces, 5.8 ounces, loaded up with their sheaths. You know, the old one is, make sure I get this right, 8.8 ounces, 9.4 ounces. Actually, backwards. The old one's 9.4 ounces. This one's 8.8. Both of them are extremely lightweight. Remember, we don't get tons of heavy-duty knife capability in that package, but it makes for a very light and easy to carry, and more importantly, on your person when you need it blade that also has excellent balance and feel in hand. I love the SOG SEAL team, I keep saying SEAL team, SEAL Pup Elite blade, and it is an improvement in this arena, the balance and feel as a medium-sized tactical blade for me. You know, harkening back to that POU. Why? First and foremost, jumping ahead in the handle has been lengthened. Remember one of my criticisms against the original SEAL Pup, handle too freaking short. Okay, my hands again, large size gloves is what I wear. Not enough real estate for me. I don't like it. I don't like it when I run out of handle length, especially if you want to go to reverse grip or something like that, all kinds of different techniques. I like the length and handle, and it's not by much, but it makes a big difference in comfort and the feel of the SEAL Pup Elite. It's superior, in my opinion, to the original pup. So nice job there. The balance is excellent. You know, it's pretty much balanced perfectly in hand as far as forward to aft. I don't find anything I would change about the SEAL Pup Elite. Not that it was that jacked up with the original SEAL Pup, just the handle's too short, among some other things we may discuss as well. The blade design, jumping ahead, just like all the other SOG Bowies, it has that traditional studies and observations group lineage. You know, the double scalloped Bowie blade, which is aesthetic and cool looking. Do I prefer it over a full flat ground blade? Nope, I do not. You know that. I like full flat ground blades or thereabouts. But, you know, to be honest, not that the SRK is full flat ground. It ain't. Or the Fallen Even, you know, A1. It's not either. Check this spider out. Look at this spider. Let's see if I can get him on the talking point. See him? Check him. Hey, buddy. Where are you going? Nah, I'm not going to kill him. Let him do his business. That is hilarious. Pressing on. So, the grind is actually, for the POU of camp knife, maybe a tactical blade, sufficient. Getting back to the wood splitting Bucket and I did, it's adequate. I've split with this blade before, and I just really wasn't super impressed with it. This one, you know, not too bad. Granted, the real test is when you do either frozen wood that has moisture in it, or very sappy wood, and we didn't really have that on our testing, so let's be fair, but it functioned pretty nicely as indeed. Here's a big improvement on the SEAL Pup Elite. It's got on the back the spine rasp that you can use for notching, maybe when you're making wilderness traps, in some ways filing. I did not test that function. I have no doubt that it would work though. And also, if you really wanted to, you could ride your thumb up for better control. I don't know why they didn't continue it all the way back there for the jimping effect, you know, so you could dig in right there. Whatever. At least you have it. I think it's aesthetically cool as well. Of course, the original SEAL Pup did not have it at all. Also, since we're talking about the blade, notice the differences in thickness. Original SEAL Pup on the right, Elite on the left. 0.185 inches in thickness, and I mic'd this one out. Actually got it out today, 0.155. So this is a thicker blade steel. And more importantly, it is a better blade steel. Remember, I dinged this one because it's AUS 6, AUS 6 steel, which is soft and, for me, in that POU, like I discussed in the review, inadequate. AUS 8, baby, for the SEAL Pup Elite. Nice job, nice upgrade, and it doesn't cost anymore. Okay, AUS 8, and I know I say awesome, you guys may say AUS 8, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a good steel. You know, easy enough to sharpen in the field, strong, relatively rust resistant. Like I've said in so many other reviews, I love it. And I think SOG puts a decent heat treat on it. Very decent. And I was impressed at the edge keeping capabilities of the Elite up in the mountains. I came back, touched it up with a ceramic rod, and that was about it. You know, no major resharpening needed. And unlike the original SEAL Pup dudes, this one actually has a better blade geometry. Hollow ground, okay? And I think the original SEAL Pup from mid-spine down was kind of flat, full flat. And like I mentioned in the review here, in order to get that razor sharp edge, which this one wears right now, due to the regrind by Fitzen's shop, thank you Fitzen. In order to get that though, we had to back that relief edge up to get a more gradual approach to the cutting edge. You won't have that problem out of the box with the Elite. Hollow ground, it already has a decent relief edge. Better steel, still the same blade shape. Oh, one thing I forgot. I'm so glad I remember this. You see an improvement right here at the hilt area? Remember the big criticism I leveled against the Pup? How the cutting edge doesn't start until clear up there? Dudes, what's up with that? That's jackballed. Over here on the Pup, though, or the Elite, they got it right. You know, they extended that cutting edge further aft so it's more effective. There's really no good reason, in my opinion, to have that Pup designed the way it was. So better cutting edge, you have more of it in the Elite. You got the spine rasp, better steel, good fit and finish, nice edge out of the box, outstanding. Handle we talked about, it's longer, more comfortable. The checkering on it, guys, I think I've heard guys say it's really, really awesome. Nutnfancy keeping it real. I don't think it's really, really awesome. I think it's adequate. You know, it's a glass reinforced handle, you know, so you can still get some slippage on it. And I would like to have a more pronounced thumb ramp on the top. The one on the bottom, the finger guard, not bad. Don't mind that. That's decent. But that would be an improvement I would make, is a bigger, you know, a bigger thumb ramp to keep your hand from you know, ingressing on top of the cutting blade in a thrust attack, which, by the way, that Bowie knife shape would be very capable of doing. Just like I've said in so many reviews, what a great overall blade shape that is for multi-purpose. When I talk about full flat ground, dudes, and I got to clarify this, I'm pretty much talking about survival blades in wood splitting capabilities. So tactical use, like I hopefully said, this is a decent and very capable blade shape. The guard, mentioned that already. Sheaths. Okay, going back to the original SEAL Pup, Kydex Sheath. This is the old style. I actually liked it. This was a good sheath. It was well made, strong. Didn't really dig, still don't dig the flimsy nylon strap. And it's not flimsy in that it doesn't retain. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that as you take it in and out of the sheath, you can actually cut that nylon. Okay, so nylon isn't a great choice for a knife retention strap. Love the snap instead of Velcro. Very nicely done. I like the pop-off back that you can put it on. We've seen some advancements in this. Again, this knife has been in the collection for over a decade, but this is a decent sheath. The new SEAL Pup Elite sheath, high speed, baby, high speed. Wearing the American Sportsman, I think that's what it is, American Sportsman's Products quick attachment clip. See that, dudes? Lightweight, and I actually like this, and I haven't yet heard from any soldiers over there in operations where this has been a problem for them. And I guess a downside might be that it's not instantly LBE compatible. This, dig? It's belt compatible, you know, web gear, and I'm sure you can rig it up somehow. Remember the original Pup sheath had all the lashing points on it and the front clip? Dig it. Dig it. That gives you lots of versatility for attaching to various loadout systems. Cool. You kind of lose some of that with the new Pup Elite sheath. You have some lashing capabilities, as you can see, but in one respect I do like it. It's slimmer in form factor. See the difference there? Little bit lighter weight too, and that is why the new version weighs a little bit less. It's not really the knives. I think the knives are pretty much similar in weight. It's the sheaths. So decent. By the way, notice the retention strap, not nylon. Good job, SOG. Upgrade it to Hypalon. Still wearing their very functional snap. Nice. Nice. And the knife inserts readily, holds nicely, and doesn't rattle. Let me double check. I'm not lying to you. Doesn't. That was the retention strap flapping around. Nice and tight. Quiet. Very tactical. I think this is kind of a hokey feature, dudes. Okay, the line cutter in the sheath. I know SOG has that on several of their knives. This is why I think it's hokey. I got to be quick with this because I don't want to get too sidetracked. Because you're only using one portion of the blade, and it's probably the portion that most dudes are going to be using and abusing the most. Okay, right about there, right? Well, let's see how that matched up. Okay, the forward portion of the blade. Let's just say that. In my experience, and I have lots of it, okay, I don't need to go anywhere else to get it as far as this goes, you know. I have seen it myself. Guys' knives are generally dull. They are. They don't sharpen them well. They don't have good sharpening skill, and I kind of fall into that group as well. And generally their knives are not wearing a nice edge. For this blade cutter to be effective, dudes, you're going to have a razor sharp edge. I was going to put 550 cord in there and show you. Actually, this knife is quite sharp right now, and I would cut it, but under realistic conditions with use of your blade, to expect that to be an effective line cutter on par with like the rescue hooks by Benchmade, forget it. It ain't going to work. I think it's kind of a marketing tool for me. So I would never buy a knife going, oh dude, it's a line cutter too. No, wouldn't do it. Great job on the sheath though. Quick attachment, you know, enough said about that. Competitive options, well, depends on how much weight you want to carry, how much money you want to spend, and what your POU is, right? Just like I always say in my knife reviews. Maybe you would want to upgrade to the previously reviewed and still outstanding SOG Tech Bowie, now in HD. Look at that beautiful black, you know, titanium nitride coated blade, beautiful, polished. Just love that blade. Awesome. Previously reviewed, of course. This is a heavier blade though. Okay, 13.8 ounces. So you're going to gain about 5 ounces over these other blades. You'll get a bigger blade, hammering capable, you know, nice handle, bigger sheath, more reach. Again, that might be a variance in guys' POUs. They want a bigger blade. Not that this blade is that big. It really, to me, is kind of along the lines of K-bar. Okay, maybe even smaller. Okay, the K-bar is still a standard by which I measure a lot of field / overall combat blades. So that would be an option. There's lots of others out there. I rolled in that SRK, Fall Even A1. Just depends on what your bank account has in it, right? And what you want to spend and what kind of capabilities you have. You're going to be hard-priced, jumping ahead to price again, hard-pressed, jumping ahead to price to beat the value of the SOG SEAL Pup Elite blade. Around 50 bucks, a little bit more, a little bit less. You know how that goes. You're going to get a very capable blade. So competitive options at that price point are limited. Let's be honest, they're limited. For a factory, heck, any type, customs are way expensive, but factory produced blade for around $50 to do what this knife can do at the weight and quality level that it represents, forget about it. Two kinds of cool, kind of already discussed that, didn't we? If you want to collect the knife, it is a cool blade, has a cool lineage from a very cool company, tactically oriented. The SOG SEAL Pup Elite is a huge improvement, in my opinion, over the original. Has a better blade, better grind, you know, spine rasp on the upper, on the upper portion, bigger handle, just all around a better blade, and more cutting surface down here towards the hilt. Same price, basically the same weight. It is an awesome choice for your LBE knife, maybe a field knife, as you go out doing your own adventuring, which I highly recommend you keep doing. There you have it. That is the review. Nutnfancy style, SOG SEAL Pup Elite. Thanks for tuning in. See ya. Both old and new. There's a SOG SEAL Pup. The SOG SEAL Pup Elite represented at high altitude today with Nutnfancy and bugging us. We'll do some medium or light duty cutting with these. These aren't really heavy duty survival blades. I know that. I think they'll be good options for soldier knives. I have some misgivings about this one. I think I've said it in some reviews. Handle's too short. I don't like how the cutting edge starts until way down here. This is an improvement. I'll say so in my tabletop review. Both along for the ride today.